A little over a year and a half ago, I set out on a mission to learn guitar. I picked up a copy of Rocksmith 2014, a really expensive cable, and I started playing. Originally, I tried to record my progress for the 60-day challenge, but that didn't work out that well. However, I still stuck to practicing, and after a lot of failure, I actually started learning how to play guitar. Here I am, 547 days later, still playing regularly and a lot better at guitar. In my year and a half of playing, I learned a lot about guitar, Rocksmith 2014, and even myself. Today, I'd like to give a formal review of Rocksmith, as well as some of the lessons I've learned since I've started playing. Rocksmith is advertised as a game, but it's actually more of a tool. To describe it simply, it's tablature meets Guitar Hero. However, that really doesn't do it justice because it's so much more than that. Here's a quick rundown of the features. The classic Learn a Song mode, that is the core of the game. Riff Repeater and Dynamic Difficulty, which work together to bring you up to par in both terms of complexity and speed. Score Attack mode, which lets you challenge yourself by playing the song at various difficulty levels to see how you match up against other players. Lessons that teach you guitar techniques from holding the guitar to finger tapping. The Guitarcade, which is basically practice exercises turned into games. Split screen mode so you can play against friends, and a large DLC shop to completely empty your wallet into so you can annoy your friends with horrible covers of their favorite songs. The ability to play the bass track of a song either by plugging a bass guitar in or simulating it through the game. Session mode that maps out a scale and lets you freestyle with the backing of a virtual and customizable band. Non-stop play that will choose random songs for you to play for a given duration of time. A tone designer that lets you take different amps, cabinets, and effects to create your own tone or modify one from an existing song. Rocksmith is a unique concept and contains a lot of really cool features, but how does it really stack up as a game? Rocksmith is a really hard game to review because it's really hard to draw comparisons. It's basically the only game that fills its niche. There's software like Musician, but it's so different from Rocksmith that the only game that you can really compare it to is the original Rocksmith title. Compared to the first game, Rocksmith 2014 is clearly superior. The design of the note highway is significantly better because it was previously really difficult to read. The addition of the height to the notes made sight reading a lot less confusing. Before, techniques like bends weren't clearly shown, so it was really hard to see how much you should bend, but the 2014 version fixed a lot of that confusion. They ditched the simplistic design of the previous game for something more fleshed out and modern. The Guitarcade's a lot better, tuning is done once per key instead of once every song, which made it an absolute pain to really play for an extended period of time. The contrast between Rocksmith and Rocksmith 2014 is night and day, with 2014 being a massive improvement. It basically makes the previous version obsolete because it's so much of a better experience. Comparisons aside, Rocksmith 2014 is an extremely well-built game, despite the Ubisoft branding. The only bug I've really seen is a couple songs briefly being unavailable, but that was fixed after a couple weeks. Plus, I really didn't care about those songs that much, so I barely noticed them being missing. Most of my problems have been caused either by me or my own equipment. Sometimes a few of my notes fail to register, but it's infrequent enough that I really don't notice, and it's probably due to my poor playing. Also, the real tone cable from my original game broke, but it's hard to blame it on Ubisoft because I kept it in a drawer locked away for years and I didn't take that good care of it. However, it's been a problem for a handful of people online, but it's not really prevalent enough that it's an actual issue. As far as sound quality goes, it's alright. It's not as good as playing through an amp, which there are tutorials online to show you how to do, but it's not really grating to listen to. Some of the effects are creative and really well done, and some of them are alright, but none of them are really horrible. However, some of the acoustic simulators leave a lot more to be desired. Honestly, unless you're an audiophile, you're not really going to have a problem with the sound in this game. The setlist of the base game isn't up to my personal taste, but it's not inherently bad. Most of the basic genres are covered, so you're probably going to find something you like. I don't think DLC should really be included in a review, but I'll make an exception for this game. There's a lot of it, and it's pretty inclusive of all the genres that aren't death metal, probably because they want to stop complaints of strings being turned into spaghetti noodles as people try to play Drop G. The songs are a bit pricey, coming in at $2.99 each, or $7.99 for a 3-pack, or even $11.99 for a set of 5, so it's probably going to cost a lot if you're trying to build your dream set list. However, the songs usually go on sale for like 40% off every Steam sale, so it's not that bad if you're patient enough to wait. Nevertheless, I find the DLC pretty fair in this game because of their quality and the effort that gets put into them. The tones are pretty solid, and the songs themselves are hand transcribed and not rip-offs of already written tablature, meaning that some of the songs actually have extra things in them, like the trumpets in 9 in the Afternoon by Panic at the Disco. Seriously, in terms of DLC, Rocksmith 2014 actually does a pretty good job at it. The Guitarcade games make you forget that you're just doing exercises and are actually pretty fun to play. They're not the main staple of the game, and I really don't spend a lot of time in them, but they really don't feel tacked on. Non-stop play is an interesting idea that's kind of poorly executed. The game doesn't really pay attention to tuning, so you end up having to tune back and forth between keys, going against the whole non-stop idea. It would be nice to have the ability to shuffle an entire key rather than having to manually select individual songs for every playlist. Even just grouping the songs by tuning would be an improvement to the current system. Session mode's hard to review because I've yet to figure out how to actually use it. It took me just up until last week to figure out that I can change the instruments that are playing in the background. I don't really know what it means when a node in the scale lights up or what the line at the top really means other than something to do with controlling the music. It's not something that's really well explained in the game, but then again, I really haven't put that much time into it, so take my opinion on that with a grain of salt. Overall, Rocksmith 2014 is an extremely well-built game with a lot of awesome and useful features. It's really accessible to new players as well as inviting to Rocksmith and general guitar veterans. As a guitar game, Rocksmith 2014 is really good, but is it an adequate guitar teacher? When I first started playing Rocksmith, the most difficult thing I could do was play an E chord, but after a year and a half, I can say I'm actually a lot better at guitar. I'm no Steve Vai, but I've gotten to the point that playing is more about practice than learning. Outside of a couple advanced techniques, nothing is really new to me. Learning a song is more about learning the composition of it, rather than the underlying skills that are actually required to play it. In this journey, Rocksmith has been a tremendous help. Most of my time has been spent in the learn a song mode, but lessons in the Guitarcade games have been extremely helpful to me. The biggest tool I've benefited from has to be the riff repeater mode. As a beginner, the best thing about the game has been the ability to look at a song, slow it down, and have the instant feedback of whether or not I'm actually playing it right. That ability, combined with the familiar layout of my Guitar Hero days, has made playing Rocksmith a lot more intuitive and enjoyable than trying to learn from tablature. The only feature that is lacking is the lessons. While helpful, they really can't replace the expertise of a guitar teacher that can show you what you're doing wrong and how to correct it. Rocksmith can only show you that what you're doing is wrong, but it really can't explain why what you're doing is wrong. If anything, that's just a limitation of the game and the medium, and not really a poorly implemented feature. With that being said, Rocksmith 2014 is still a great way to learn guitar, provided that you put in the effort. While it can help you improve your skills, it isn't going to work miracles. If you're really wanting to learn guitar, I highly recommend Rocksmith 2014. Just don't be lazy and blame the game for your lack of progress. That's basically all I can really say about the game. It's really good, and if you're wanting to learn guitar, it's a really good method of doing so. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have more reviews like this out soon. Thank you.